Sean here with BaseMint Comics. It's Wednesday, March 11th. It's new comic book day. Normally, we would ride our bike up to the comic book shop to pick up our new books. But this week, that's out of the question because beautiful weather on Monday and half of yesterday. We got into almost, mid 70s, which is incredibly rare here, concerning deeply, and caused all the havoc that happened last night, which was torrential thunderstorms, softball-sized hail, flooding, so on and so forth. So the trail that we normally ride is prone at this time of year to get massively flooded. But you're in luck, because I knew this was coming, because I bike all the time, so I pay attention to my weather apps, knew this was on the horizon, and I needed to pick up, for reasons I will explain later, some supplies. So Hank and I made a trip up to the shop on Monday when it was perfect outside. So just pretend that this was today and not the rainy tornado destructive mess that today was, and enjoy this peaceful, enjoyable ride where my man Hank is hardcore fighting a nap during this particular ride. You will see him possibly get whiplash 6 or 7 times before we make it to the shop. And then we'll be back here to talk about what I liked and what I didn't from last week, show off some new books and some back issues that I picked up when I talk about the supplies. So let's hit the trails.
Now, here he is now, and that's where we were. The faster it goes, the more it blurs. Sleep, I don't wanna sleep, 'cause I miss the now. So let's raise a toast to living. Here's to the light. Spirit on the run. Raise up your glass. Time's a charm. And say you can have all of what you wanted to. It must be true. Oh, 'cause I've got you. I want the Alps to well outlast the dance. Oh, I want to live to the point of tears till I'm gone. And I want you all to sing with me, to sing. Here's to the light. Spirit on the run. Raise up your glass. Time's a charm. They say you can have all of what you wanted to. It must be true. Oh, 'cause I've got you. I want you all to sing with me, to sing. Here's to the light. Spin on the run. Raise up your glass. 'Cause these times are charm. Here's to the light. Spin on the run. Raise up your glass. Times are charm. Here's to the light. Spin on the run. Raise up your glass. I want the Alps to well outlast the dance. Down, down, down. I want the Alps to well outlast the dance. Down, down,
All right, with the power of editing, we are back. The tea is made in the obligatory merch mug. One of one. All right. That ride to get supplies was very fun. Today, it would not have been fun. We would have been underwater. And I'm sure there's probably some trees knocked over, because at one point last night, I woke up and I was like, it's like Thor and Loki are fighting outside of my house. Anyways, last week's books. Okay, this rarely ever happens. I pride myself on reading, like, you know how when you would get, the oversized issues where they'll like throw in back matter that you maybe don't care about. I pride myself on reading, like, it's like listening to albums. Like, I buy an album, I listen to it back to front a couple times, really, immerse myself in it, etc., etc. Same thing with comics. Like, if I'm paying for a comic, especially if I'm paying an outrageous $6.99, I am 100% going to read that thing cover to cover. I got about 2 pages into this, and no, absolutely not. This was terrible. It's terrible. I'm not even putting it back in a... No, it's out of here. It's no good. I'm going to... Maybe I'll try again. I don't know. I just... The lesson learned that Marvel is not... So when they do these, like... When they do these digital... When they do these digital things, the digital first, whatever... I grew up in a time period where they did, like, X-Men Unlimited. And this was a series that came out, and the first issue was, like, it was great. Blackbird crashes like they do in the Savage Land. Cyclops doesn't have his visor, like what happens when a blackbird crashes. This is all tropes that have been done 1,000 times. But this was kick-ass stuff when I was a kid. And that issue is like $2.95, which you were like, what? I gotta mow how many lawns to get this book? But it was worth it, because it was Chris Picciolo art, and it was great. And when there's a part of my brain that is still, there's a pretty large part of my brain that is still a child. And so when I pick this up, I'm like, this has the feel of X-Men Unlimited, so it's probably going to be X-Men Unlimited. And why, but the rational part of my brain, which is much smaller than the one that gets into the comic book store, sees the new rack and is like, woo, right? The rational part of my brain is like, no, dummy. They put this stuff up on Marvel Unlimited, and they're not putting, I don't want to say, I can't draw, so, I'm not knocking the art. It's just not for me. Somebody else might see this and be like, this is awesome, but peak Iceman for me was in the 90s. And this isn't that. This isn't social commentary. This is just straight saying that, I got into it and I was like, art isn't doing anything for me. And I feel like when Bendis brought Bobby back and he was like Kid Bobby, that all of the progression of his character and the growth that they did in the 90s with him becoming more of a leader, the being possessed by Emma and moving through his powers and understanding them more, becoming an Omega level mutant, dealing with the stuff that he had to deal with his parents growing up, kind of feeling like the kid in the group of the original X-Men, but still feeling like he had ownership of the team over, say, the giant size class or any that came after that. Just feels lost in this. It feels like when Bendis brought the team back, that everyone in the team went back, but they kept little kid Bobby, because he's written like a kid. And I don't know, just there are generations of young X-Men kids. There are the New Mutants, which shouldn't be kids now. I'm gonna get lost down a rabbit hole of this, but New Mutants should be the adults now. Like this Danny Moonstar series, she shouldn't be, which I also have this one was I enjoyed Moonstar, but I was like, man, this just feels like she's a kid. And I would like to see those characters grow up. I grew up with them. The Generation X kids. I want to see those kids grow up. Kyle and Yost's new X-Men stuff, that was great stuff. Introduced a bunch of new characters. I really liked the Hogwarts-esque. There were like multiple classes that were sort of led by different teachers. And that was great stuff. And they introduced a lot of really interesting young characters. So we do not need to revert adult characters to children when there are many, a new generation of X-Men characters that deserve the spotlight. And I will get into, yeah. That's all. I just want the character to be badass and not like, I don't know. I don't get it. Moonstar was okay. I don't think that Danny warrants a solo title, but I guess this is kind of following up on the Magic miniseries, which Moonstar was kind of a supporting cast member, and I guess like it seems to me like Marvel's not really given any series room to grow. Pretty much everything right now, unless you are Spider-Man, X-Men, Fantastic Four, or the Avengers, everything's a mini series. So, you know, it is what it is. This was fun. You know, I don't have much to say other than like this was a fun Daredevil, Punisher team up, fights mafia bad guys. That's always good. That's a good time. Wolverine was great. I've really this is one of those moments where I'm so thankful that this is as good as I think it is, because I did not enjoy Saladin Ahmed's run on Daredevil. And it's like, oh, I'm not just picking on this writer and like, it's no, you do this and I'm all in. Like, that book has been a blast. Another book that I was hoping would be an absolute blast, like the Wolverine, was X-Men. I have had high hopes for this title since the very beginning. I kind of wish we had more of Stegman's art in this. I don't mind. It's just Neto Diaz. I'm not 100% sure. It's good. He definitely comes from that same like school. Like, it's not, you know, but it's not my favorite. And what bums me out about this issue is, like I was talking about earlier, where there's like a generation of great kids coming up. This ends sort of with the possibility that one of those kids was taken off the table through a bad guy murdering them. And if it is true, it's going to bum me out. Like I said, I've been enjoying this book, but I had higher hopes for it. And kind of, you know, I hope they can course correct the X books. Avengers 802. This wrapped up the Jed MacKay run. It was good. It was, I mean, legitimately a kind of downtime. Carol's just walking around like, hey, did we do good? Who should the next Avengers be? And so, I mean, to have epic finale written on the cover, I was like, pump the brakes. This is all right, but it's no epic finale. I liked McKay's run. It was good. This last arc has sort of felt like just kind of a like waving goodbye to it, and kind of like Remember Barry, like telling you about like all the stuff that had come before in the run. If I were to compare it to the previous Jason Aaron run, I preferred that one over this. And I was left when the issue ended, I was kind of left with this like, oh man, it sort of just ends with them being like, hey, they're looking at a screen and they're like, there's the new chairperson for the Avengers, but we don't ever see it. And then like you turn the page, book is done, and there's no like next month in Avengers, which is weird. Like, it's weird. There's no Avengers title at Marvel, which is weird. The only thing that it hinted at was like, hey, come back for this. I guess it's not Free Comic Book Day anymore. Now it's called something else, which is weird, because maybe I've been to plenty of stores where people just walk in and think any comic book is free. So I'm sure that store owners have been like, hey, could we cut the free comic book day thing out and just make it something else? So it's called something else. I don't remember what it was. But they're releasing that the preview to the Armageddon series written by Chip Zdarsky, and that got me thinking. I was like, there has been no announcement for who is taking over the Avengers franchise, and I would love it if Chip Zdarsky took over Avengers. I think that would be great. So fingers crossed in my neck of the woods that Chip Zdarsky is the new Avengers writer. That'd be cool. Uncanny X-Men annual number 1. This was written by Stegman, which is why he's probably not doing art on X-Men. And this was a lot of fun. Like, this was great. It involved the Uncanny X-Men team getting visited by Jean, and they take on this character named the Creationist. It was a little bit meta, because it turns out this dude's power is to, like, create things, but he can't do art. So he got what looks like Ryan Stegman and I believe Sanford Green in there to do the art. So there's multiple people working on the art, because Stegman, I believe he handles these black and white pages. Just the black and white portion where the characters go into like this dream. Anyways, this was a lot of fun, and I really, really, really love Stegman's line work. And so him just doing black and white pencils, like, really, I don't know. I think his pencils are great. I think that there is something that happens in the inks and colors that make them not as good as the pencils. So seeing just his straight pencils always brings me an immense amount of joy. He's a good dude, and I really dug that, and I was happy that he was writing. Last up, Amazing Spider-Man, part 2 of 9 of the Death Spiral story. And this one was it's drawn by Ed McGuinness, which is always badass. And this one was fun for me because I'm not reading the Venom series regularly, to the point where I forgot that Mary Jane is now Venom. And I didn't realize that Peter didn't know that. So there was some fun stuff done in this issue, because Peter obviously finds out that Mary Jane is now Venom. And so that was fun. And so far, out of the 2 issues, I have thoroughly enjoyed Death Spiral. Last new book that I picked up, it's a magazine, but I picked up, I was watching the Geeky Old Hogs video from a few weeks ago, him picking up his new books, and he had mentioned that he was grabbing this back issue magazine, and I was like, oh man, I have such a name droppy episode. My buddy Doug, who I am pals with, and we have standing burger and fries lunch dates to catch up and talk comics in person. He is a writer for Back Issue Magazine, and so he wrote this article about the Things poker games, the Marvel floating poker game. So it's this entire article about the history of the Marvel floating poker game. And I love Back Issue Magazine because, I mean, it's better than the internet. He says on the internet. Yeah, so yeah, when I saw the Geeky Old Hog pick that up, I was like, that reminded me, and I was like, hey, Z, do you got an article in this month's Back Issue Magazine? And he was like, I do. And I was like, I'm going to go pick it up at my shop. And I texted the guy at my shop before I biked up there, and I was like, hey, if there's a Back Issue Magazine, you mind snagging me a copy and throwing it in my box? And he was like, man, those things are $10.95, and we only order those for people who pre-order them. And I was like, well, try to find me one. And they did. Took them a couple weeks, but they did. What great service. So, real quick. Do I go? All right. I'll stick with the new books, and we'll get into the other stuff later. Okay. New book. I was going to drop some things. I didn't because I pre-ordered them. And I have, I don't know, Irish guilt. I don't know. If I pre-order it from my shop, I'm not sticking them with it. But those books that I was going to drop, I wound up enjoying every single one of them. So I was like, hooray. The End 2099. Number 4. This actually should be the end. This should be the end of 2099. I have a soft spot in my heart for X-Men 2099. A few years ago, did a complete reread of X-Men 2099, and it did not end great. And going back to this well just isn't as fun as it should be. And it's always a bummer to me when alternate reality or alternate future stuff isn't fun. I'm tired of them always being grim. Like, toss some fun in there. Make it fun. Make it snappy. 1776. They got me. On that first issue, they put Cyclops on the cover, so I was like, sign me up. And they got me. He has not appeared once in this. This has been okay. Like, I like J. Michael Straczynski's writing. And there was an interesting thing done with Spider-Man in the last issue. But it's not doing a ton for me. And let's be real. I'm not feeling super patriotic these last few years. Doctor Strange number 4. I'm enjoying Strange being in. This is like years back, Mark Waid did a run on Doctor Strange where he was in space. It was like Surgeon Supreme, and that was like a ton of fun. Like, really enjoyed it. That was one of my like lunch break reads. Like, I'd take that one with me, and the art in this is not for me. That's not me saying it's bad. I don't know if you guys have gathered. I'm okay to be like, I don't enjoy this, but I'm not going to be like, this stinks. There's enough of that on the internet. That's not my bag. I just know that this particular art style isn't like, I'd probably be enjoying this more if there was a different artist on the book. Magic and Colossus number 2. I enjoyed number 1. I hope that these are 2 characters that I adore. You will learn that very well if you pay attention to Cornerbox Classics. But I feel as though they have been absolutely mishandled for years and years and years, particularly Colossus. And I'm hoping that maybe a mini-series between the 2 of them can right some of that stuff. That would be great. I'd really appreciate it. Storm number 2. Number 1 was a mess to me. I had to laugh when I saw this because there's a huge, thank God I don't care about the condition of, there's a huge, like, somebody like folded this thing in half when they put it on the rack. It happens. It's like this, the Storm series before it, I was really enjoying. I don't necessarily like, Storm's one of those characters that, like, when in the hands of Chris Claremont is perfect and a goddess and handled fantastically. And then I feel like everybody else wants to be like, hey, she's the most powerful mutant ever. And that's great. But, like, Storm was a badass without her power. I don't know. Like, one of the things in this is that she's, like, getting godlike powers, which I know is part of the story and it's not going to last. But it just feels sort of, because it's like, dude, she was kick-ass without any powers. She was leading the X-Men without powers. Come on. Black Cat number 8. More Mary Jane as Venom. I can't get enough of it. That's a fun series, but man, they're throwing Mary Jane as Venom at me hardcore. Planet of the Apes vs. Fantastic Four. I really enjoyed the first issue. I had watched the Planet of the Apes movie the night before because I was like, I ordered this, but I'm completely unfamiliar. And so I was happy that I did that because I enjoyed it as much as I did because I had just watched Planet of the Apes. If I had bought this without watching Planet of the Apes, I would have been like, why'd you do that? Why did you spend $4.99 on that, you idiot? Hulk Smash Everything is... that's all you need to know. It's Hulk smashing everything, and it's been a ball. He was kind of in like space in the last issue, and it was a little bit existentially for me, but this one looks like he's back and smashing everything. So hooray! They got me. So much Mary Jane Venom. Yeah. I mean, I'm reading the story, so I might as well pick a... It's going to boost Venom sales, so people are going to be like, this Mary Jane thing is gangbusters. And it's all my fault because I picked it up. Okay. This one's a little bit of an oddball one. When young Hank was first born, his mother watched nothing but the Food Network. Which is great because, you know, kick-ass cook. And trying all sorts of new things and coming up with great, like, we eat fantastically over here. It's why I bike so much. But the thing is that, have you ever watched a 1.5-year-old, like, refuse to watch cartoons because he would rather watch Iron Chef? Because that's what happened in our household. It was like 2 years before Hank would watch a cartoon because he was like, no, I want to watch Guy's Grocery Games and Iron Chef America. So when this Spider-Man Meals to Astonish, which is like a Spidey teaming up with chefs, popped up in the previews catalog, I was like, sign me up. It's combining the kids' 2 favorite things, it's Spider-Man and the Food Network. So I had to, although when I ordered it, this is weird, okay? This is not when I ordered it, the cover was like them all sitting around like a table, like eating. And now it's like, it looks scary. So I'm like, yeah, cool. Okay, I guess. Last new book I picked up, X-Men United #1. I'm jazzed for this. I am jazzed for this because right now, here it is. I haven't flipped through it. I haven't opened it. I don't know anything about it. And here is why I'm jazzed. Because right now, at this very moment, I believe that this is the book that's going to right the ship. Because United makes me think that they're going to realize that having the team in New Orleans and one in Alaska and always fighting each other is stupid. And that the X-Men need to be united at a school for mutants. So right now, that's what this book is to me. I might never read it. This might just be it. They might be like, in my head, I'm like, they went back to the school, all's right in the world, that's it. This is the end. And then I'm going to read it, and that's not going to be what it is, and you're going to see me next Wednesday, and you're going to be like, how was X-Men United, Sean? And I'm going to be like, and somewhere in Scotland, a pal of mine is going to be like, should have bought a back issue. Speaking of back issues, okay, so and I think that everyone should watch all of the videos because I love continuity. So in my videos, I'm not like, I watch some channels where the people are very, very aware that that might be the first time they ever see their channel, and they're really good about not tying back to other things. I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. So in the last Cornerbox Classics video, I talked about the fact that I buy supplies in bulk. So when I was a kid getting into comics, I had one of those trundle beds, you know, that had the bed underneath it. But we had gotten rid of that bed, like the second bed, because, you know, who needs it? And that bed was the perfect height for fitting long boxes under it. So that's where my comics went. They went under my bed. And every time that I would have to, you know, like once every couple of years, probably once a year, I would switch out my bags and boards. And this was, I loved it. It was the great Marvel reorganization was what I would call it. I'd put on some records, I'd get myself a root beer, and I would spend the afternoon with my window cracked and the breeze coming through, and I would bag and board my comics. And I didn't have enough for it to take me an entire day. I had 3-4 boxes tops, but it took me all day because I got to look through them again and like flip through them, and I'd wind up reading stuff, and before you know it, my mom's like, yeah, it's bedtime. You only got 2 boxes done. And then I'd be back at it the next day. Then the collection grew throughout my life. And so then I was like, oof, I don't want to have to re-bag and board 16,000 comic books. So that is why everything is in Mylars. And it is stupidly expensive. But I don't have to, barring one getting absolutely for some reason, like I don't tape them either. I tuck and fold. So there's no tape, because I had it was an Uncanny X-Men 267. Thank God it was 266 tape pull when I was a kid. So no tape. So I order from the Mylar guys. You can't even order them online. Like the website doesn't work. You got to call a number. You got to call when they're not on their lunch break. Very pleasant people to talk to on the phone. And I order 1,000 at a time. And every time I'm like, well, I'm not gonna have to do this for a while. And then my pal McGroovy goes like, well, for the month of March, I'm not gonna buy any new comics. And I'm like, the industry is gonna collapse without you buying books. So I go on a tear making up for him so the industry doesn't collapse. You're welcome. So inevitably I have to buy 1,000 Mylars. I ordered 1,000 current, and you saw in the video that I ordered 1,000 bulk backer boards from a different company, and it was the first time that I'd ever bought them like not in the shrink wrap, like packs of 100, 10 of them, you know. I just was like, because those were on back order, and I was like, I need them. So I was like, let me take a gamble and save the $15 and order the bulk box. Surely they will package them in a way that they will not get annihilated. And if you watched the last Corner Box Classics, you know that there was a good chunk of those books that got annihilated. But, and this is how things have worked out most of my life, when I opened up the first packet of bags and boards, I'm upstairs, kids running around, we're watching a hockey game, and I put the backer board in the bag, and it's ridiculously baggy. And I'm like, oh no, these backer boards were cut wrong. They're too small. What wound up happening was they accidentally sent me 800 currents and 200 standards, which is Silver Age. And I was like, oh man. But it worked out because the backer boards that were dinged from that other company worked out to be about 200 that were dinged. So I just pedaled up on that beautiful sunny day and picked up some Silver Age boards for the Silver Age Mylars that I didn't order. And so when I was at the shop today, I was like, I should treat myself to a Silver Age book. And so I got this sweet copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 95 to go into these accidentally ordered Silver Age standard sized Mylars. See? It all worked out. It all worked out exactly how it was. Look at that. That thing is great. I love it. So it is what it is. while I was in there, since he wasn't. But I think the store's always going to want me to come in. They love Henry, but I think they're going to be like, don't bring him, because I was able to actually look around. And so picked up Iron Man Annual number 3, a Silver Surfer issue that I was missing. Mighty Thor number 384. This is the issue right after Walt Simonson, and I have, that's all going to be covered in Cornerbox Classics. And I was like, wonder how they follow that up. And then Ulik the Troll, love him. So I just picked up a bunch of, this is a Christmas issue of Thor that I did not have. And this one got me because I was like, look at that helmet and that Mutant Massacre era Thor. And then there were 2, I'm big on the annuals, because the annuals back then were like stories that crossed over into the other summer annuals. So those were some annuals that I needed. And then I did not get any of the Donny Cates Thor run, but I saw this great Thorg cover, and then there was this art called God of Hammers, and I was like, oh, that looks fun. And this was the one that got me, because there were a bunch of like Iron Man and Doctor Strange and Lockheed, Thorg, Wolverine. So I was like, hey, I'll give that a shot. Why not? So that is what I picked up back issue wise. But this was the peak moment there. So then other things that I've been reading. I guess this doesn't really fall into New Comic Book Wednesday stuff, but obviously with Cornerbox Classics, if you watch that, I've been going through my whole collection, and there were a couple series that I did not read because I did not have them at the time that I started reading. And one of them that I just finished up last night, which was a blast, was the Marvel feature Ant-Man issues, and those were delightful. So I was really happy to have read those. I read a couple issues of the Inhumans, because if you watched that last issue of Cornerbox Classics, I discovered that Black Bolt and Medusa are cousins, and it blew my mind. And I was like, I clearly need to read that series, because like they're married, but they're okay, weird. And so I will tell you that I've only gotten I've gotten 2 issues into it. It's good. Really early George Perez pencils, which is great. I love George Perez. Is on my Mount Rushmore of comic book creators or artists. But every time that one of the Inhumans calls another one cousin, I cringe a little. And then I've been making my way through Astonishing Tales. And last night, during the crazy storm, I was reading number 8, and the backup story, the Doom story in this one, is this fantastic Gene Colan drawn Doom goes down, and basically this is what, to me, this would be like the prologue to Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom, Triumph and Torment, which is one of my favorite stories of all time. I did a video on it back in October, because that's when although the story takes place on Midsummer's Night Eve, I always read it in the fall, because I'm just weird like that. But I have thoroughly been enjoying Kazar and Doctor Doom. Actually, today I picked up... it is not with me yet because I bought it online, but I was able to purchase an entire run of the 80s Kazar the Savage, which I have a couple issues of, but I was able to get the whole series for a song. And like I said, I got to make up for McGroovy trying to ruin the industry. I don't know. He gave up buying comics for Lent. He'll be back in April. Yeah, so that's New Comic Book Wednesday. I'm on the days that I'm not reading new books, I'm finishing up Astonishing Tales and the Inhumans and doing Cornerbox Classics. And this weekend, it is a doozy. We got Amazing Spider-Man 232, Captain America 273, Hercules Prince of Power #1. It's Hercules miniseries from the 80s. I've never read it, but I picked it up a couple months back at a shop that was closing in our area. Micronauts #45. The Mighty Thor #323, and Wolverine #1. We got a couple miniseries from the 80s debuting. That's exciting. So those will be the books that I'll be covering this weekend in Corner Box Classics. This has been New Comic Book Wednesday. It's a bummer that we didn't get to ride today, but at least, you know, if I hadn't said anything, you wouldn't have known, because you don't know what the weather's like here, and you don't know when we wanted to, but impassable. We'd have to get scuba gear. All right. You're supposed to like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate all of it. I really like the comments because I like chatting about comics. You know, subscribing and liking. But the comments, that's fun. We get to talk about comics. That's what we're here for. Anyways, I'll be back this weekend with Corner Box Classics. Thanks for taking this ride with us. Bye.